Hello everybody and welcome back. This is Not a Pro Gardener here. We are in Zone 6B. Today we're going to be doing a garden update video. We got a surprise a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss that. It's a new addition. We're going to be direct seeding. After the garden update, we're going to be direct seeding, and we'll talk about what those are going to be later on, and we're going to be showing you this surprise later. But first we're going to go around and show you the update of everything that has to do with the garden that we have. Then we're going to be doing our direct seeding and show you how we do that with the Swiss chard and our beets. We usually direct seed at the end of March. It's March 25th and it's 54 degrees outside and it's pretty much full sun. There's a few clouds in the sky, so it's a nice day outside to get this done and get in the garden. Now, yesterday we had a huge storm come through. It was pretty heavy rain, and it rained for almost a day and a half. And the reason we are direct seeding these Swiss chard and beets right now is because they can take a light frost, but they ain't real frost hardy in my experience. So we usually wait a little bit longer before we direct seed these guys, and we direct seed them because it takes a lot of time to put all those seeds that are multi-germ in cells and then thin them out later. So what I do now, I found to be easier, faster, and it seems to work pretty good because beets are pretty easy to get to come up if you plant them at the right depth. We just direct seed them now because it's faster, easier, and they are multi-germ, so they usually come up pretty good. Let's go ahead and get to this garden update. I'll turn around and we'll show you all this stuff that we got going on and the state of everything that we direct seeded before and stuff like that, what came up and what didn't come up. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about that. So let's get to it. All right, everybody, so this is the state of the garden right now. As you can see, you can tell that it's been washed away. It's been lots and lots of rain. We got tons of rain. Seed starting. These guys have been catching up pretty good. I've noticed that they seem to grow out a lot slower when I grow them out in the greenhouse. I can grow these out in 4 weeks indoors. And this is taking a lot longer for me to get these done out in the greenhouse, I've noticed. So we're definitely growing slower on these. Usually they'd be probably double their size by now, but onions are still doing all right. They're not too bad. And there's my backup onions that I have. And these guys, they're not really that bad. I'll just show you. They're not too bad. They just need to start growing to size now. So as you can see, these are the spinach that we direct seeded. These guys came up really good, okay? And as you can see, they all come up nice and thick, which is what I wanted. I'm just going to be thinning them out a little bit, maybe. And if I don't want to thin them out, I can just use them as a baby spinach. So I could leave them thick like this as well. Not such a big deal, but really pretty, guys. That's going to produce quite a bit of baby spinach for me. Just got to keep them going. There ain't nothing planted in this bed just yet. And now on to the greenhouse. So I'll pop up a picture of these tomato plants. They are freaking huge, guys. Like, they are growing so quick. And I did these 4 weeks indoors, and I acclimated them within that last week. So the third week, I started my acclimation process. And as you can see, I'll pop up a picture somewhere of what they were before I had them out, outside. And they have almost like doubled in size. Take you in a little closer here. Like, these guys are plenty good to be potted up. They're huge, healthy plants, nice and green. I still got these little dwarf varieties back here kind of getting shaded out a little bit. So here in the next week, I'm going to try to get a lot of these I'm going to try to get a lot of these guys potted up. So let's go over here. And we got this lettuce. This stuff's trucking along pretty good. I still got to thin this out. My herbs are doing all right. And these herbs ain't too bad. I had some more sage pop up, which is pretty good. I really want to try that. Other than that, it's about 91 degrees out here, which is why I have the door open and these guys right here by the door. Good place for them. They get some sun and some good cold wind breeze on them that keeps them nice and chill out. Now on to the next one. As you can see, there's a lot of rain that came through here and washed a lot out. Onions, they're doing real good. Like, as you can see, these guys, they just started poking up above the raised bed, which ain't too bad, because I used to not be able to see them from the house, but now I can peek out here and see them, which is pretty cool. See them growing. They're growing pretty quick. The bulbing onions, as you can see, that one has been getting a little bit bigger. They did get bit back by the frost one time, so they will come back out of it. That one looks pretty good. They take a little bit longer here to get back up on their feet, but they will. And once they get back up on their feet, they will look probably like this one right here. Pretty straight up and down, green tips on them. Just got to give them a little bit more time since they got bit back by a frost. Let's check out this one over here. This is the raised bed that I direct seeded, that Bloomsdale spinach. And as you can see, I think that seed isn't no good no more. Could have been just me, but you would have thought at least one of them would have came up. But then again, that's gardening. You win some, you lose some, not such a big deal. I have plenty of other options to put here. I might even try to direct seed the same seed in here again, just a little bit shallower, not quite as deep, just to see if I can tell if it was me or the seed. But it is a couple years old or something like that. I can't remember. I'm almost 2 years old now, but this spinach here, I almost got that spiral pattern. It's a little off, but as you can see, this spinach doesn't look too bad, guys. It's nice and green, real thick coming up. You can thin it if you want to, but I probably won't thin it. Looks pretty good. Now, what I've really been waiting for was these carrots to come up. These carrots, they'll test your patience, guys, I'm telling you. But as you can see, hopefully, some of them carrot seed finally started popping. You can just barely see them. Little hairs popping up, which is awesome. I'm so ecstatic that this finally came up. Had me a bit worried there for a while, but these guys are doing real nice. Real happy with the way it turned out. Although, as you can see, that heavy rain kind of washed this side downhill, so we might not have as many seeds pop up over here. But as long as I get to try them, I'll be happy with them. So the next one here is we got this bed that I did the same spinach seed, that Bloomsdale spinach I did over there. I did over here as well, this whole bed. Nothing yet. I still haven't seen any popping up. So it could just be a depth issue with me, or it could be that the seed is just not as good as it was before. That happens sometimes as well. So all in all, guys, it's not such a big deal. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. We're just gonna go ahead and replace that with some more seed to see if it was me or the seed. And then if that doesn't work, we got plenty of other seeds we can direct seed in there, like more carrots or stuff like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get to the direct seeding part of this video. So let's get it. All right, guys, so this is what we got going on here. We got just the Swiss chard is what we was going to be direct seeding, but since the spinach may be a failure in this bed, I'm going to go ahead and add some beets in here as well. Even though I wasn't going to do any beets, I have extra seed that I'm just going to go ahead and put in here. So let's go ahead and get this going. So I'm thinking I'm going to keep my rows about 1 foot to 6 inches apart here. And we're going to go ahead and do the Swiss chard closer to the middle, I think, and then we're going to work this way with the beets. So let's go ahead and get some furrows made here. So we're going to go ahead and just drag it along, just a scratch in the top there to get it open. And you only want this to be like 1/2 inch deep, guys. You don't want it to be any deeper than that. So I'm just barely trying to push it down in there. So, just going to take this one and do another row on this side here. See if I can get some more Swiss chard out of this, even though I know only a couple plants are going to do it here for me. Only a couple plants is what you need, but I want a little extra here. All right. Not the straightest rows, but that's not what I'm going for here, so. First, we're going to do this Swiss chard. I got these from Seeds and Such. This is the Bright Lights Swiss chard. The days to maturity is 55 days to maturity. This is a nicely savoyed and glossy green bronze leaves with many colored stems, suitable for production year-round, but less hardy than other chards. The soil temperature for germination is 40 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It can be optimal at 80-something degrees, I believe is what it said. You want it to be about a ½ inch deep and rows 12 to 18 inches apart. And if you want them to be bigger leaves, you can thin the plants 4 to 6 inches apart for larger leaves. So let's go ahead and get this open. And these are mainly to be side dishes for a family. And I'm pretty sure these are multi-germ seeds like beets are, even though you can find beet seeds with single germ. Multi-germ's not a big deal. I like to do multi-germ for when I'm direct seeding because it helps you have that stand that you want. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure this furrow is roughly about a ½ inch deep, and then we're gonna start direct seeding these guys in those 2 rows back there. And then the beets will be like right here. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, now that we got these guys done, we're just gonna cover them up slightly. All right, so we're just gonna cover them up slightly. It says about a ½ inch, so I'm just going to crumble some of this soil over it, this compost that I put in here. So then you wanna do seed to soil contact here as well. Just wanna make sure it has good contact with the soil. All right, now that we got that done, we're gonna do these avalanche beets. Seed I used from last year. We're just gonna do 1 row of these. And I usually treat these like I do the chard. They are from the same family. So I'm just gonna sprinkle them in. Well, that's kind of heavy, but that's not such a big deal. Definitely have a good stand of these with it. Some people don't like beets, so if you need to get away from that earthy flavor, avalanche beets are a pretty good substitute. They're said to not have as earthy of a taste. And you want to give a good seed to soil contact as well. All right, so now that we got that done, we have a new addition to the homestead, and we will be telling you why we chose to do this when we get over there. There will be a whole little section on this at this video, so stay tuned for that, and I'm going to tell you why we chose to do this. So let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so now that we got all that stuff done, we're going to do the fun part of it, which is the surprise that we got. New addition to the homestead. I'm sure you could probably guess it if it ain't on the thumbnail by now. So we're going to be doing some pasture meat rabbits, but almost like cover crop meat rabbits, but also mowing the lawn meat rabbit situation. As in, this is what we are going to be doing to help control what we put into our bodies as well. It's a huge sustainable source of fertilizer, food, and it's not that costly. So we're going to go ahead and break it down a little bit further and talk about the reasons and advantages of having meat rabbits. So let's show you what we got. Okay, so it's a little hard to see them now. So anybody's wondering about these cages, I built these cages from the Polyface Design book. I'll pop up an image of that so you can get an idea of where I got the ideas for this stuff from. That book has a wealth of information, and I suggest you check it out yourself. It's a very nice book. So I made these cages from their design and ordered the stuff for these where I could get it locally. So like the feeders and stuff like that. And we also have 3 female rabbits as of now. We will be looking for a male here soon to get one of those. We went with the Rex breed rabbit. These have a really nice pelt and they're very good meat to bone ratio from what I've read online. And a little background, as we used to have lots of rabbits when we were kids, and as you can hear, the chickens are out and they're having fun over here digging up bugs. So some of the advantages to doing these meat rabbits is they don't need a lot of space. These cages they have a divider in the middle. There's 2 on each side, a cage for each rabbit, and they are 30 inches wide. They're 30 inches wide, 16 inches tall, and they are 60 inches long. So it's 2 30 by 30 pins for them. So they don't need a lot of space, okay? So that's a huge thing for some people that do not have the space. And another thing is I'm going to be doing a rabbit tractor with them, and in the future doing rabbit tractors over the garden cover crops, stuff like that, which is a huge benefit. They are an inexpensive investment. Most pairs of rabbits sell for around 50 to 60 bucks. I happen to get these for like 12 bucks each, which weren't too bad. Now I just got to get me that male I was talking about, and then I can start breeding them. Now for the rabbit tractor, I built that primarily from scrap wood that I have. So eventually you'll see me roll that out on one of these videos, but I can't do that until the baby rabbits are at least 6 weeks of age. Then they go in the rabbit tractor for 6 weeks, and then at 12 weeks they are ready to be there at butchering weight. All you need is some scrap wood, hardware cloth. You gotta get the right hardware cloth, and just you need a watering apparatus. I use bowls for now, but I have a gravity system that's in the works and going to be put into effect here soon. So you definitely need some feeding hoppers. But I got these out here so I can feed them on the outside of the pins. Those are pretty nice. So we're going to be able to do that without having to open the cage, and you can just poke some grass in whenever you need to. They're definitely not a ton of cost up front. I think about $40 per cage roughly. And that includes the wire and some of the things like the clips that you build it with. That includes the clips that you build it with. They were around 40 to 50 bucks roughly to build these cages each, from buying a big roll of wire and doing it myself. And some people, they don't want to do that and they just want to have a couple rabbits, then I would suggest just buying your own. The meat rabbits, they produce quickly with roughly about 12 weeks. I've heard from some YouTubers that their New Zealand's roughly fill out around 11 weeks, but hey, I mean, it just depends on probably what you're feeding them and how happy and healthy they are in the situation and environment, stuff like that. A trio of rabbits can produce up to 600 pounds of lean meat a year. That's meat in the freezer, guys. That's huge. Okay, so that's a huge difference there. And these guys, that's a huge difference. And these guys are not that hard to care for. If you raise rabbits, you might be sitting on a fertilizer gold mine. And if you have rabbits, you know that already. A single rabbit can generate between 200 to 300 rabbit pellets a day and 1 ton of manure per year. 1 ton of manure. That's a granular fertilizer ready to be thrown in the garden. You can use it fresh from under the hutch. It doesn't burn your plants, no composting needed. It's much easier to apply than chicken manure, because chicken manure will burn your plants if you do not compost it long enough and get it broke down. You can use it as a pre-planting fertilizer in the planting hole before planting or in the furrow before planting. It's also used as a top dressing for your lawn, flowers, veggies, your ornamental plants, stuff like that. You can supercharge your compost pile and create an earthworm haven. Fishing bait, if any of you seen one of my other videos where I said that, it's definitely a huge benefit. Having that fishing bait right there, you don't have to go buy worms. You just dig them up and just use them, guys. Now, the rabbit manure is a sustainable source of fertilizer rather than outsourcing it from other people that you know, or farmers or stores. You can buy that stuff, you know, composted hen manure or stuff like that at the stores. This stuff is a byproduct of the rabbits, and it's free. It's literally almost like a granular fertilizer. You can just grab some of it, side dress your plants with it, cultivate it in. You know, it's a huge benefit and a nice tool to have in your toolbox for the garden or your lawn, if your lawn needs fertilized as well. You could sell it as fertilizer as well, okay? That would be a nice addition. If you had too much, you can advertise that as well. You know, some neighbors around you that want to get some cheap fertilizer, there it is. It's already in pelleted form. Meat rabbits do not require a lot of care and intervention as long as you provide them with a safe environment. The only real involvement is to be cleaning their cages every once in a while or emptying their water bowls, stuff like that. It's nice that they don't require a lot of investment of your time and care. They are very easy to care and they do not take up a lot of space, which makes them ideal for not only small spaces, but for beginning homesteaders and weekend homesteaders that are pressed for time. 70% of the pasture meat rabbits are going to be of grasses, flowers, and things like that that grow wherever the rabbit tractor goes, you know? And that's going to be a huge cut on feed costs for your meat rabbits. So there's really not a lot of cost to these guys. I mean, it's the upfront cost of your cages if you want to go this route, or you could build a stand-up one on the ground. I have mine hanging from the top of the rafters here, and that's just the way I chose to do it, so I could get a wheelbarrow under here and collect this stuff. I wanted plenty of room underneath to be able to collect it and not have to worry about that. Another thing is this tarp back here. This keeps your barn protected from any urine, feces, things like that. It keeps it all coming down right where it needs to be and not in the wood or on the metal back there. You don't have to do any extra cleaning then because it's already protected. So primarily my uses are, I'm hoping to be able to do a rabbit tractor on cover crops. That would be a nice one. And I definitely want to do the meat rabbits this year on the lawn. So I'm going to be having a rabbit lawn tractor here. And if I ever do cover crops, I will have hopefully some rabbits to put on there and let them graze that as well. So that would be a huge benefit in them depositing their fertilizer while you are naturally fertilizing your lawn or garden, which is huge. They're quiet, which is a huge benefit. There's no smell. And if you keep their manure cleaned up underneath the hutches, you don't have any flies. It's a win-win. Like, it's a huge benefit, and I've been wanting to do this for a long time, but I finally got around to it. I've been building these infrastructure here in the last couple weeks, getting all this stuff put up, and it's really not that hard to build these little cages like this. It's been pretty easy and roughly pretty fun. Me and the kids enjoyed it, and we're hoping to show you guys some good information and videos from here on out. So we're going to go ahead and introduce you to the new addition to the homestead, which are these rabbits. They do not have names yet. Currently, these 3 females, I was told, were Rexes. I am definitely no expert on the rabbit situation, but I will get better over time. So if you got any information or tips or tricks, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. Now, we're going to end on showing you the rabbits here and the surprise. And this is Not a Pro Gardener here. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you like the video. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a great day.